Counselor Troi's Complete Star Trek, TNG and Picard Timeline Explained. Counselor Deanna Troi, Marina Sirtis, served as the ship's counselor on the USS Enterprise D throughout all 7 seasons of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Originally conceived to be the Spock, Leonard Nimoy of TNG, Troi became more of a caregiver character and, in many ways, formed the heart of the show. With a Betazoid mother and a human father, Deanna Troi inherited empathic abilities from her mother, Lwaxana Troi Majel Barrett Roddenberry. Troi could sense the emotions of those around her, which proved useful both as a counselor and as the trusted advisor to Captain Jean-Luc Picard, Patrick Stewart. Counselor Troi's character was largely inspired by Lieutenant Ilya Persis Kambata, a character who was originally conceived for the abandoned Star Trek Phase 2 and later appeared in Star Trek, the motion picture. As a Deltan, Ilya also had empathic abilities, and her relationship with Captain Wildecker Stephen Collins has many similarities to Troi's relationship with Commander William Riker, Jonathan Frakes. Deanna Troi did not always receive the best storylines on Star Trek: The Next Generation, but her romance with Riker remains one of Star Trek's best love stories. Counselor Troi's life on Bateys before Star Trek, TNG 2336-2364. Deanna Troi was born on the planet Bateys in 2336 to Betazoid Ambassador Lwaxana Troi and human Starfleet officer Ian Andrew Troi Amik-Biram. Lwaxana and Ian had a previous daughter named Kestra Troi, but she tragically drowned when Deanna was a baby. Overcome by her grief, Lwaxana repressed her memories of Kestra and removed all evidence of her existence from the Troi household. Because of this, Deanna did not learn about her sister until 2370 in Star Trek: The Next Generation's Dark Page, when Lwaxana's memories began returning. Deanna's father shared elements of human culture with her as a child, but he passed away in 2343 when Deanna was only 7 years old. Sometime in the 2350s, Deanna began studying psychology at the University of Bateys, and she entered Starfleet Academy in 2355. Troi graduated from Starfleet Academy in 2359 with a major in psychology. Sometime between 2357 and 2361, Troi was involved in a romantic relationship with LT Will Riker while he was stationed on Bateys. However, Will later chose to prioritize his career over this romance, and the two eventually lost contact with one another. Counselor Troi made her Star Trek debut in Star Trek: The Next Generation series premiere, and her empathic abilities quickly came in handy during the Farpoint mission in 2364. Troi's empathic abilities were altered somewhat after encounter at Farpoint, but nevertheless proved vital on numerous occasions throughout the series. Deanna's mother, Lwaxana, was introduced in TNG Season 1, Episode 11, Haven, when she visited the Enterprise to celebrate her daughter's prearranged marriage to Wyatt Miller, Rob Nepper. Wyatt, however, fell in love with another woman, saving Deanna from having to marry a man she barely knew. At the start of Star Trek: The Next Generation Season 2, in early 2365, an alien entity wishing to learn more about humanity impregnated Deanna with a child who aged extremely quickly. Over the next several years, Deanna had a few romances with TNG guest stars and a brief relationship with LT Worf, Michael Dorn. She also lost her empathic powers and gained them back, and later went undercover disguised as a Romulan. Troi did not begin wearing a Starfleet uniform until TNG Season 6, and she later took the Bridge Officer's Test in 2370, becoming a full commander. Deanna Troi sometimes deserved better on TNG, but she ultimately became an integral member of the Enterprise crew. Deanna Troi, the empathetic half-Betazoid counselor of the USS Enterprise D, was one of the most pivotal characters in Star Trek: The Next Generation, TNG, and later, in Star Trek: Picard. Her journey spanned decades, evolving from a trusted shipboard counselor to a deeply humanized figure confronting loss, motherhood, and her own psychic legacy. Below is a chronological timeline detailing her evolution across both series. Early life and Starfleet beginnings. Deanna Troi was born on March 29, 2336, on the planet Bateys to Lwaxana Troi, an eccentric and outspoken Betazoid noblewoman, and Ian Andrew Troi, a Starfleet officer of human origin. Being half Betazoid, Deanna inherited her mother's telepathic abilities, though they manifested more as empathic perception of others' emotions. Deanna attended Starfleet Academy in the 2350s, where she trained in psychology and xenobiology. It was during this time she met Will Riker, the man who would become her great love. Their romance flourished at Starfleet Academy, but career ambitions drove them apart. The Next Generation Era, 2364 to 2370. Deanna joined the Enterprise D as ship counselor under Captain Jean-Luc Picard in 2364. Her empathic skills proved invaluable during first contact missions, diplomatic negotiations, and crises involving alien species. In the series pilot, Encounter at Farpoint, Troi demonstrated her empathy while assisting the crew in dealing with the enigmatic Q and the alien entity posing as a space station. Her bond with Commander Riker remained a key undercurrent throughout TNG, particularly in episodes like The Child, where her unexpected pregnancy tested her emotional resilience, and Second Chances, where she confronted her feelings about Riker through a transporter-created duplicate. Deanna's role expanded as she occasionally took command of the bridge, showcasing her growth as a leader. Memorable episodes such as Disaster highlighted her strategic thinking under pressure. Despite these moments, her character often had to endure challenges, both personal and professional, including dealing with her mother's frequent, overbearing appearances aboard the ship. The Dominion War and post-TNG era. By the time the Enterprise D was destroyed in Star Trek Generations 2371, Deanna had matured into a seasoned officer. After the ship's loss, she transitioned to serving aboard the Enterprise E. During this period, her relationship with Riker began to rekindle, as seen in Star Trek Insurrection 2375. Troi's contributions during the Dominion War were less explored directly in TNG, but were pivotal in bridging the Federation's understanding of the emotional and psychological impacts of interstellar conflict. She also played a key role in the events of Star Trek Nemesis 2379, where her telepathic abilities were instrumental in combating the Reman Viceroy and aiding the crew in navigating Shinzen's machinations. Marriage and family life. By 2379, Deanna married Riker, fulfilling a long-standing arc in their relationship. Their wedding aboard the Enterprise E was a joyous occasion, attended by the crew that had become her extended family. Shortly after, Riker accepted a promotion to captain and took command of the USS Titan, with Deanna joining him as ship counselor. Together, they embarked on diplomatic missions, exploring the frontier beyond Federation borders. During this time, Deanna faced significant challenges balancing her professional duties with her personal life, especially when tragedy struck their family. The Picard era, 2399 to 2402. By the time we see Deanna again in Star Trek Picard, her life had taken a bittersweet turn. She and Riker had retired to the pastoral planet of Nepenthe following the death of their son, Thaddeus, from a rare condition that could not be cured due to a Federation ban on synthetic life. This loss deeply affected the couple, adding layers of grief and resilience to their characters. In Season 1 of Picard, Deanna was instrumental in helping Picard and Soji, a synthetic being grappling with her identity, find emotional clarity. Deanna's natural empathy and maternal instincts shone through as she comforted and guided Soji, while also supporting Picard in his mission. Season 3 of Picard brought Deanna back to her Enterprise roots, reuniting with her old crewmates to combat the looming threat of the changelings and the Borg. Her abilities as an empath were crucial in deciphering Jack Crusher's visions and the Borg's deeper influence. The arc demonstrated how much Deanna had grown, showcasing her as both a mother and a counselor still willing to stand at the heart of interstellar danger. Legacy and impact. Deanna Troi's timeline is a testament to her complexity and growth as a character. Initially framed as the ship's emotional barometer, she evolved into a fully realized figure, balancing duty, personal loss, and